All right. Hello. We have a big group with us today, which is great. This is the not January, it's July 22nd, Topherspin Meteorites, Meteorite Crew Hangout. We got a lot of new people here, and we're going to have a special guest with us today, Dustin Dickens. He's the owner of Top Meteorite in Colorado. He's going to give us a little tour of his facility, his room, show us off some things. We're going to do some show and tell as well. So I guess I'm just going to kick it off. Who has something that's burning a hole in their pocket and they got to show it off to the crew? And a hushed silence falls across the crowd. All right, we got Bruce. So why don't you unmute yourself and you're good to go.
So let's see if this. All right, so this came in the mail today. I don't know how well it's going to show. But this is the only, as far as I know, the only CR3 NWA 12474. Let's see if I can get a light on it and see if it helps a little bit.
Oh yeah, you can see a little bit of the goggles in there now.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
You guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. So a unique classification for sure.
Yep.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Right on. All right. I have anyone else that want to jump in? All right. Going to Kevin.
I have a Dustin Dickens lunar.
Hey.
It is, man.
Nice.
That was, I think, 11303, and then it changed to 11474. Maybe you can enlighten us on what that is.
Yeah, there's like 4 or 5 different classifications that are all pretty much the same lunars. Mendy and I classified 474 together with a smaller mass, and then I did 303 with a larger mass, and then later did 787 with an even larger mass. But it was all the same material. So the earlier one, I think 474 is probably the smallest TKW. So if you've got 474, that's probably the hardest number to get.
Yeah, got that.
Nice. A win for Kevin. Pat, did I see you holding something up in the background?
No, I got a sad story. All my new meteorites are in the mail.
Oh.
Good.
Yeah,
it's good to have meteorites.
I had to mail your whole collection to yourself.
I actually have a little bit of a sad story where I'm gonna ask that everyone here that's online, if you would in the chat, please add your name, because after today we're done with the live, I'm gonna do a random drawing. This isn't the one you're gonna get, but you'll see this is NWA 925. So this is the random prize that we are going to give away to someone. This I'm gonna show it off real quick while you guys are typing your names. So this is not the piece that we're giving away, but it is it's just so fitting that this happens to be a gift from Dustin Dickens. When we went to the 75th anniversary of the University of New Mexico Meteoritics, Carl A.G. invited both he and I to represent our companies there. It was quite an honor, to be honest with you. Dustin was giving out little samples of this in welcome bags, and then he gave me what we were laughingly calling the main mass of the door prizes. So this is not the sample that we're giving away, but the sample we're giving away is just a little bit bigger than this. This one is, let me see, 5 grams. I think the one that's sent is just a little over 5 grams or something like that.
Those chondrils.
But yeah, just unique stuff. I'm getting into CKs, CK5, CK6s, stuff like that. So Dustin Dickens at Top Meteorite is sponsoring today's broadcast and replays on YouTube. And he is the one that's making the door prize or the web prize, whatever we're calling it. available to someone, and it's going to be about a little over 5 grams of his classification NWA 12925, a CK5. So once I get that, I'll show pictures of it online.
This one was it wasn't purchased by Mustafa. I didn't sell it to him, but it was facilitated by Mustafa. Actually, we wouldn't have that if Mustafa hadn't hooked me up with the person that we got it from.
Nice. Yeah. So that's something I do with whenever anyone gives me something, I always mark it and label it, and it goes in my display case, you know, in a special place, because I mean that's the best meteorite of all, a free one from a friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does anyone want to have some show and tell? All right, we got Christopher. You may want to unmute yourself.
Yep.
Hold on.
So
Go for it.
let me switch this around. So here we have an Alatai that I just got in the mail. Let's see if we can get it to focus. But speaking of Dustin Dickens, there is an Aubrite that I just received from him
Oh,
a
wow.
little while ago, from NWA 13304. And that, of course, is the new A chondrite.
Wow. That is a big Albright, man. That's a good
Not great
size
video
sample.
quality, but
Wow.
do what I can.
Nice.
Very cool.
And Christopher, where are you located at?
Los Angeles.
Oh, welcome. Hey, Mike's got someone behind him hanging out. That's cool. Anyone want to show something? If not, I want to show something. So I have a piece of, and I don't know how to pronounce it, so you guys can help me out with it. It's the Brazilian iron Uruca or something like that. But
Uraku.
there it is. How do you say it?
I think it's Uraku, but I'm just guessing.
Okay,
Really.
Uraku. Okay, but this is a Steve Arnold Meteorite Man, the real dude, piece, and I just want to remind all collectors, and again, this is being replayed on YouTube, so some of us here online, this is old knowledge, but for the new people joining on YouTube, you got to keep an active eye on your collection and look for signs of oxidation, rusting, anything that shows your piece is distressed. So I noticed that when I got it, I knew I'd have to keep an eye on this area here because of just the exposed metal and just the rough area. But I've noticed in the last, about last month or so, this turned into rust. It went from the darker color that's on the outside to the rustier, to active rusting. So this piece, it just so happens that I can't lose that because it's a self-stander. Well, it doesn't stand on the phone, but trust me, it's a self-stander. And if it loses that, it loses a lot of charm for me. So one thing us collectors really need to keep in mind is don't just appreciate your meteorites, but pick them up and inspect them once in a while. Throw an eye loop in, and even though you may have looked at the same exact meteorite every single time, there's always something new to see in a meteorite. Look at all that detail.
Pretty.
But then you look in here and you're like, okay, something's wrong. So this is gonna probably go off to Craig's Lyman. I have a few kilos of other stuff that I'll be sending him as well. And he'll do some reverse electrolysis stabilization on it. And then he'll put a nice protective coating on it. So I won't have to worry about further damage. So my catchphrase is, you know, we're custodians of these and we have to curate them and take care of them while they're in our possession.
Hey, one of the cool things about
I
Uruguay
like it.
is I think that's the only other one I've ever seen besides Campo where where they've cryogenically frozen it and then fractured it.
Well,
Oh, yeah. That's,
you know, there's something interesting related to Campo with that, with that meteorite. It's chemically identical to Campo, and I mean, I have no idea if this is accurate or if there's any credence to this, but it always made me wonder. I mean, that Campo fall is just massive, huge. Over, I mean, one of the biggest, stream fields in the world, and I mean, is it possible that it just was so big that some of it hit Brazil too? I mean,
yeah, or maybe like an early break off or something like that.
Yeah, totally.
And you got the major stream field and a little piece that's an outlier.
Yeah, and if it's that, yeah, right. I mean, you got hundreds and hundreds of tons, though that big, those pieces. I mean, I don't think it all came in as one piece and broke up. I doubt it anyway, but maybe. But yeah, absolutely, totally could have been a weird, like holdback, or came a little earlier or later or whatever.
but one thing I've noticed on Raku is and Dustin, you know more than me, so that's why we have you here.
You never know.
On the inclusions on this is very compo looking down here. I mean, if you showed me just that little area right there, I would think you're looking compo. But as soon as you get into these pro-light inclusions,
I agree. When I saw that, I was like, those little roundy guys are just really have a different looking texture. I agree. It look very different.
yeah, because I don't see this fracturization in Campo di Cielo.
I've seen some of it, but I haven't seen that kind. I mean, I've seen some kind of just like weathering almost like that seems to happen, oxidation and in particular ways. But there was some texture in there that does look different. I've got a big piece of it actually too, not cut, but a really weird looking one. It's almost oriented, but it's so old. But anyway, yeah, it's a trippy meteorite.
One thing that's cool about when you actually get a slice of a meteorite, if you just had a slice, you would look at it and you see this profile, you see these two inclusions, and you may think, oh, they may be blobs or blebs. But if you look at this one, you see, oh yeah, it might be a blob or a bleb. No, it's a whole vein going through.
Yeah, so that whole thing is a silicate.
So just another cool way to enjoy a meteorite. A hunk of a meteorite versus a slice of a meteorite versus a whole intact uncut meteorite. There's a multitude of ways they can be presented. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to allow everyone to mute themselves. Christian, there you go. Thank you.
I was sorry. I unmuted myself because I thought you were going to say, anyone else want to share? But I could share later. No worries.
Anyone else want to share?
Hey, baby. I've got the perfect segue. Speaking of Campo, that's actually what I have right here to share. This is my largest meteorite, actually.
Oh, man.
It's 400 gram Campo. And yeah, it's pretty solid. When I first saw it, I was concerned because it was darker. And I had heard about some being recovered from, swampy areas and disintegrating over time. But, took a close look at it and really happy with it. Some nice regmaglyphs and, as you had mentioned, changes with metal meteorites. With this one in particular, since picking it up, I had noticed, like, for example, like in this little regmaglyph, there's some oxide and some red down in here, and these are kind of new little changes I've noticed. I wasn't sure if this was just my imagination, but now I know for sure it's changed a little bit. So that's that one. And the other one is actually something I have from Dustin, and I believe he's seen this. But yeah, this is a small Saracho.
Oh, a sculptural one.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's got some.
Oh, it's got some olivine in there too, doesn't it?
Yeah. Sorry about the lighting, but there we go.
It was better up in the air, I think.
Beautiful.
Oh, man. There we go.
I know that piece.
Wow, it's got several see-through holes in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't zoom in with this app, but I'll probably post some pictures of it along with the live stream, you know, post.
Okay.
So if anyone wants to see it, they could take a closer look. But
That would be
yeah.
that'd be nice. I like that compo that you have there. It's a nice hand-sized sample, and that's what people outside the meteorite community, like before I started collecting, that's what I thought of when I thought of a meteorite. Something exact like that. Beautiful hunk of metal, super dense, really weird shape. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a solid piece, buddy. Thank you
Love
for
it.
sharing.
Of course.
Looks like we have Don available. If you want to unmute, I can go to you.
Okay, this is my campo.
Woo!
Oh, oh,
Oh, show off.
damn.
That is gorgeous.
You can fit some compos in those regoliths.
That's a 22 kilogram.
That is beautiful.
Ooh, too heavy.
Wow.
That's
That is
beautiful.
phenomenal. Well, that makes a good segue with Dustin on our screen. I'm going to ask that if anyone has any items that they want to show off later on, please get them ready, because we're going to shoot through the show and tell after our guest speaker. But I'm really happy that Dustin has decided to join us a few times, and I've asked him today just basically to, like we did last time, open conversation. We want this to be interactive because, trust me, he doesn't know everything, but he talks a lot. No. So,
Yeah, I just think I do.
no. So this is one of my great friends and one of my meteorite buddies, a really close dude to me, Dustin Dickens. He's the owner of Top Meteorite, and he's going to give us a little tour of his place. So I'm going to make him the spotlight video, and then everyone else, we can unmute and talk as well.
Cool. Hey
Thanks,
guys.
Dustin.
That's fine, no worries. So I guess I'll just start off by giving you a little quick tour.
Let me ask you one question before you get going.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally.
This is your livelihood. You do meteorites for a living. You don't have a job except meteorites. When did you start getting into meteorites? It is tough. And what got you into it as a business? How did you know that's how you want to invest your life?
You know, I didn't, honestly. It was a mistake. I definitely wanted to get into meteorites. I was already. I was in Morocco studying hypervelocity impact structures through, my wife's from Spain, and I lived in Spain for 7 years in between Spain and Morocco is just 15 kilometers across the ferry ride. So I've spent a lot of time in Morocco and Agua, which is a hypervelocity impact structure. Did a lot of hunting there, and but just knew nothing, absolutely nothing about the meteorite industry or meteorites in general, really. Knew a little bit about hypervelocity impacts. I mean, enough where I made the cover, made the main article for Meteorite magazine for it. I think if you guys can see that.
Oh, that's nice.
But that took me like 4 months of studying and writing, and it was like one of the longest experiences. I was doing it for like 3 years. Anyway, long story short, I decided I wanted to get involved in it, and I went to the Tucson show, and over the course of about a year and a half, I invested a bunch of money in another meteorite company. And you know how meteorite companies are now, and that's just like, we're stupid. It's just not probably not the smartest thing in the world to do, but I did it. And so I learned a lot, and I made a lot of beautiful friends, and everybody that was involved in it, although it got a little tense for a while, we're all really great friends now. And my mom's even married to one, practically lives with one of them. And hello, Bill. And Brahim and Sean, everybody, much love to you guys. And thank you for all that first opportunity, whether it was stressful for everybody, but it led everybody to where we are now. And anyway, so I had a choice. Either I had to take my investment in meteorites And then I had to either dump that at like 10, 15% on the dollar, or I had to double down and become a meteorite dealer. And I love it. It's fun, like, you know, but as I've made very clear to everybody that'll listen, I would rather study them than sell them.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what I'm doing right now. These are my, this is the stuff I'm doing for the first classification. Well, my first 3 classifications that I'm working on with Dr. Ajay over at University of New Mexico, and he's walking me through it. And let's see, can you guys see
That's
all this?
cool. So what that actually means is you're doing the scientific research and going to be writing the paper basically, and Dr. G is going to be looking over your shoulder the whole way and signing off.
Yeah, that's kind of, I'd hope that might happen at some point, because describing this as a paper, I think, is way overblowing it. Classifications are a lot less, believe it or not, take a lot less scrutiny, at least for a fair, most of the meteorite classifications. So you really don't need to drill down super paper level. There's some really key diagnostics that if you hit on them, you get clean with all of the ratios. It's a lot more straightforward than maybe doing a paper that's bringing something new to science, and the rigor and the support that's required for that. So basically, really what it is me. I mean, I've been doing this long enough to where I pretty much know how to do a write-up. I've submitted a couple of Dr. Alan Rubin's write-ups that he did for my material, where I had to take all his data and put it into the actual submission form. So I knew how to do that. And then right now, Carl, just through through text and chat right now, is helping me get through this. And so far, the lunar is pretty straightforward, oddly enough, and it looks like one of them's terrestrial, and the other one, I'm drilling down on exactly what kind of chondrite it is, and the chondrite's a lot harder. The breccia, describing the breccia and characterizing the breccia in the lunar to a degree that would be satisfactory for a paper. I won't do that yet. I might try to do that at some point. And that's when I would probably have Carl totally looking over every single thing I'm doing. Right now, it's just, it's pretty straightforward chemistry. As long as I get, calculated the standard deviations right, which I better have, and just other stuff. That's it. Anyway, whatever. It's probably enough of that stuff. You probably don't want to hear about all that boring stuff. You guys want to see some meteorites?
Absolutely, man.
Sure.
Cool.
I think it's cool to be part of the group that's actually bringing stuff to the labs and doing the work on it. And you're way deeper in it than I am. It's fantastic.
What? Yeah, you just keep going, man. It's like walking into a pool. You just keep walking. Eventually, you're in the deep end. But hey, okay. Can I show you guys stuff that's not a meteorites first, since we were going to do that for a little bit?
Dude, this is a tour. You're in charge.
Okay. So this is so Morocco is a place that's like really dear to my heart, and this is a painting from I don't know the artist's name. He's kind of famous, but it's of a blue city called Chef Chalon, or just Chalon, in the north of Morocco. And it's all blue. The whole town is blue. There's another painting of it. Anyway, Morocco is just really enchanting place. So blue, I thought I'd start off on blue. One of the things I got into while I was hunting and hanging out in Morocco was Azerite. I don't know if you guys, can you tell me if that looks okay? Can you see that?
Oh yeah.
Looks good.
And then, and some of this stuff is just totally like crazy colors. Well, you gotta really, sunlight is really where it's at. I have a really good friend who's a marine biologist and specializes in shells, and we made some trades. And so there's like a lot more money than I understand right there. And then silver, some native silver. A lot of debate as to how that's made or formed. Some other weird minerals down there. I'm cleaning out minerals and kind of setting it up and getting my son ready for some stuff. So as you can see, I've kind of still got.
Dustin, do you have Bisbee Azerite?
Do I have which?
Bisbee?
Bisbee, no, I wish I did. I mean, I had a couple pieces of, like, they were from Bisbee, but they weren't like the beautiful Bisbee, God, what are they called? Rosettes? No, I don't have any of the Bisbee rosettes. I wish I did. Now, mostly this is from Morocco. I think there's like Milpias, there's like a couple of Mexicos, and then what else was there? There's what else did I have from there? Sorry. Mozambique. I had one from Mozambique also. Anyway, okay. So, hey, we were showing off Cerato earlier, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Here's.
Oh, dang. A whole shelf of sculptural ones.
And there's some really weird stuff. So like this right there, this is a siderite. There's no crystals in that. It's all iron. This one, all iron also. Oop, yeah, as you can tell. And these guys are, you guys, imagine probably a lot of you. Are you guys familiar with silicon sides?
Yeah, but I thought that was pretty much in chondrites.
No.
It's plain old shifting.
Yeah, well, it's like what it, as I understand it. Now, I could be, maybe I'm misinterpreting them and calling something that's maybe misnaming it. But it's like when it's kind of plastic and it rips across the, either the crystal boundaries. In this case, it would be like a metal crystal boundary. In the case of chondrites or other, other more highly silicated things, then it would just be at a higher melting temperature, but it would go along maybe different crystal structures. I'm not entirely sure how they vary between them, but I do know that everybody mistakes what I'm about to show you for those. I love shatter cones, and these are, you guys see those? The lighting's really, hold on. Let me do something.
We had someone on our last live hangout asking about shatter cones.
That's fun. That's a shatter cone right there. Can you see that?
Oh yeah, I can see the angular.
And so those guys, that's from Abu Dhabi. These are from other places, but these are from really far other places. These are shatter cones on meteorites. Can you, oh, okay, here we go. Let's see. This lighting really horrible. Hold on, I'm just gonna take that out. Can you guys see this texture, or is it just totally a waste of time?
We can see pretty good.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, when it's in the light, we can see a lot better.
There we go.
So
my lighting in here is just awful. So anyway, those guys are all shattered.
A shatter cone is basically, like in terrestrial terms, the Earth that is impacted under a meteorite. So how does that differ? That's actual meteorite?
Well, yeah, it's like weird because that's kind of that particular definition implies a lot and applies a lot of terrestrial things. All it means is that, so when something, a hypervelocity impact is when an impactor hits the target material faster than the speed of sound in the target material. And so the target material can't vibrate fast enough. The natural vibral sort of limitation of the material can't vibrate fast enough. So it gets into this really weird plasticized state, and without necessarily changing the molecular structure of it. Well, it does change the crystal structure, but it's a really weird, it's a super hyper fast sort of momentary different type of physics that happens right when that impactor strikes at hypervelocity speeds. And one of the things that happens with shatter cones, and where we know a shatter cone is considered a macroscopic diagnostic for a hypervelocity impact.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, if you find shatter cones, you have found a hypervelocity meteorite impact, period, end of story. It's a diagnostics for it. Where it might have been transported from or whatever, it could be a different story. But anyway, so what happens is that thing hits so fast and it puts so much energy into the target system, and that the target system can't vibrate fast enough to, as a whole, dissipate all that energy. And so that energy sort of migrates through these weak fracture points in the target material. And you have, and in doing so, when it's plasticized in these sort of sheeted weak areas, it causes these horsetail patterns that are 100% unique to shatter cones. They're not formed in any way, but they're only on the surface of these weak points in the target. And so, and what's weird is it'll bounce off of harder parts and bounce back up another shatter. So you have these literally shatter cones in all different directions, facing every north, south, east, west. This thing came in at thousands of miles per second, hit, bam, and somehow, before this thing explodes, before the whole thing, and before the brecciation and the excavation occurs, there's this plasticization and this uplift. And the shatter cones are found about a half a kilometer to a kilometer below the central uplift. Below the central uplift of the hypervelocity structure. Mm-hmm. And so it plasticizes kind of like a milk, you know, you see like the drop of milk that we've all seen a million times, or water, and down under there in that, you know, half a kilometer to a kilometer is where this strange sort of kinetic physics, this transfer of kinetic to potential energy is going on. And so then you get, all of a sudden, it solidifies, it freezes up, all of those shatter cones and all the patterns, horsetail patterns, are all locked into that target material all over the place. It kind of bulges up, and then sometimes, not all the time, it then gets completely destroyed and blown out and incorporated into breccia, and other times, depending on the nature of the impact, it can not get excavated and stay down there. But anyway, that's what shatter cones are and how they get formed. So now imagine you've got now that you know it's just a shockwave effect, and then now you know that it could totally happen with two big meteors coming in, bam, and like one's going way faster than the other, and the other's really big and just kind of hanging out, and the other one's kind of small and it's coming in super fast. Boom! Shock material, shatter cones on this one. Boom. So you could have meteorite.
Wow. I have never even thought of that. That was a great explanation, by the way. I appreciate that, because my understanding of shatter cones was extremely basic.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're, you know, meteorites and hypervelocity impacts, they have a lot of relationship, but they're not the same thing. Yeah. Most people don't get too deep into that, and I left it a long time ago, really, to get the truth of it, you know, for geochemistry. I know. Anyway, you guys want to see some good books?
Absolutely. We have several book lovers in the crowd.
Cool. So go over here. Let's see. Let's come around here. Oh, this is just a fun sweep by. This is just like in process kind of stuff. Is that? And let's see, Sergio. Okay.
Nice.
This baby is my pride and joy. I think you showed off one of these, didn't you, Topher?
I did not have one of those. No, those are massive. And a complete collection.
This is my baby. And then, so this is, let's see here. So this is my collection of just sort of weird monographs and stuff, and just old European and American monographs and short little papers and things. This was one I scored that I was really happy about. Let's see if you guys can you see that?
Of the world.
So this is a publication. It's one of the first publications that the University of New Mexico ever put out. For the Institute of Meteoritics. So it's basically just a bunch of coordinates.
It's a digitalized first edition of the Met Bowl.
Yeah, kind of.
Or not digital, but print.
Yeah, I think Met Bowl existed back then. But yeah, you're right. It's it's kind of like that. Although these are all the Met Bowls that my little favorite thing. But whatever. So what do you guys want to see? What do you guys want to do? I'm probably just yapping away. Let's see.
Agua Zarcas.
Huh? Agua Zarcas? Okay, cool. Hey, this is where Sandra hangs out most of her day, and this is where all those beautiful pictures come from.
Nice.
Sandra making them, mostly. Shipping. Okay, Agua Zarcas. Agua Zarcas.
Being a meteorite dealer does kind of take over your space.
Oh God, yeah, like the whole entire bottom of our house, and that's not even talking about workshop saws or anything. Hey, say hello. That's Ginger Cookie. Hello. Hey, sweetie. Okay, so there is here. I'll open it up for you guys. Here, I should probably wash my hands real quick though, because
We are worthy.
Man, what we're going to be looking at right now is a very important scientific meteorite fall. It's Agua Zarcas. It fell in Costa Rica, and it is a CM2, I believe.
Yes,
so the same as Murchison, which contained a lot of sugars and amino acids and stuff like that. So that's why he's going to explain to us why it's kept the way it's kept.
Indeed. A lot of people probably think I'm a little extreme with this, but I even have some. I'll talk to you about wire saw. We'll go there in a minute. But this right here, this is the storage, and this is the refill for liquid nitrogen, which is a whole nother thing than what I'm about to show you, which is just. Oops, sorry. I guess okay. What I'm about to show you is just gas, regular nitrogen, no big deal. Unless you breathe 100% of it, then it's like probably the best way in the world to die. You just fall asleep, don't notice anything. You get the gas. At least that's what they say. So what happens is there's a lot of volatiles in this particular CM2. So there was water in it, alcohols. Things stunk. When we picked it up, it smelled like compost, and it was off gassing. And you could, like, I would come back after hunting for the day. We would come back in, and I would have it enclosed in boxes, these airtight boxes, and I would open the boxes to take a look at them or take pictures, and it was overwhelming to the point where you started saying, like, wow, am I like? I mean, you start having these sort of Andromeda strain things in your head. There's prebiotics, not biologicals, but there's prebiotics in this thing. My doggy's about ready to come by. Hello. No, Chucker. I'm about ready to do something important. I gotta get in out of here real quick. There we go. Okay. So anyway, so you start smelling this stuff, and it's like, paint thinner or something. After a while, you're wondering if it's really a good thing that you're smelling it all the time. But it goes away pretty quickly. And so, like, for what I'm trying to do here is arrest oxidation. And so, takes oxygen to oxidize, and the stuff has water inside of it, and it tends to oxidize from the inside out sometimes. And it just is they're prone to oxidation. So the idea is to at the expense of losing all the water, because the nitrogen is a desiccant, I'm arresting the oxygen because it's kind of, for me, I know this sounds, I guess it's mild bit of a confession maybe, but it's about, there's just as much of a dealer consideration for this as anything else. And then I just don't want them to rust, and they're pre-rains. They were picked up before it rained. So if I show somebody a pre-rain that's got rust spots on it, they're like, well, how do I know it's pre-rain? And you know, that looks like those older ones that I can get for half the price. And so I'm just trying to keep them as pristine as possible, and keep them from rusting and oxidizing any more than they already are. So this is one of my personal finds. And this was just, yeah, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna change the, let's see if, there we go.
Wow.
It was just like this. It was just stuck. It's like a wedge, right? And it's oriented on, well, not oriented, but it's got rollover lip on every single edge. It's just the weirdest thing in the world.
That is
There's a little sienna. You get a little bit of that bluiness right on the edge there.
Yeah.
Totally complete. Was stuck in grass.
Wow.
So
that is such
was
a soft
really,
material. To find a complete one is rather rare, isn't it?
totally. And the bigger they get, you know, the harder. Like this little guy, I'm not totally surprised that it was found complete. Only in that, you know, it's like a little spaceship. It just kind of came down like that, and it's so light that, you know, it's not too surprising it didn't break. The other two, these guys, these are the only really ones I have left. Everything else are like bigger ones like that I have left. This guy's got some really nice color on it. Let's see if you can see that. Let's see. Maybe a little bit.
Damn, look at the crust though.
Whoop. I got it. I was close.
Thank God, dude.
So let's see. There.
You can see some blue tints on that one as well.
Yeah, really that blue. I mean, some of them are so brilliant and vibrant that it takes like the wrong light to not see it. And so, but most of them, it takes the right light to see it. And then, so these are all pre-rain, except for the one I found there. That's not pre-rain. I didn't make it there in time for pre-rain.
Dang.
These I bought.
Hey, Dustin,
That one has some gorgeous fragments.
from the time you heard about the fall, how quickly were you down there?
Not quickly enough. Like about 6 days, 5.5 days, 6 days.
I was there on the third day. I was there before the rain. It was,
Robert?
And yeah, and there was no oxidation on any of the pieces on that first day, and on that second day, you could clearly tell that rain had touched it. 1 day difference. I saw a good half a kilo my first day there, and it hadn't rained. And then it rained that night, and the next day, everything had spots.
Wow.
Yep.
Dustin, I have a question. You mentioned that Agua Zarcas tends to oxidize internally first. And that blows my mind.
Well, I don't know that it necessarily does it internally as much as I've had them. Like, I don't know. It seems to do that. But I mean, it has to have oxygen to do it, right? So it's not just oxidizing without it. So there's some kind of a crack. I've seen these really nice, totally really thick crusted ones that have no crack at all, no micro cracks. And they stayed really nice. They didn't oxidize at all. So I guess what I'm saying is that there's water coming from inside.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to keep any oxygen from happening. So I guess it's not technical. I mean, it's happening from the inside, but it's not like happening on its own without oxygen, basically, from the atmosphere.
Okay, so something's been exploited. The water is there now. Oxygen is present. Therefore, the meteorite's at risk.
Yeah, and you get these micro fractures and fractures that go down, and you can't even see them necessarily, and they're letting oxygen in, and then terrestrial water, and vice versa. There's respiration going on, and blah blah blah.
So if I can, I'd like to show the first piece that I bought since we're on Agua Zarcas, or I can wait.
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, show it, hey, brother.
Good to see you, right?
So, hold on.
Is it still stinky?
Your mom's stinky.
So this I bought within an hour of reaching the strewn field.
Woo.
And that is
Gorgeous.
roll over, flip all the way around. Some impact dirt from the soil.
Oh, a beautiful face. Look at
More
that.
soil right there.
And
They
another
find
nice complete stone.
Coqueleca? Was that in Santa Rosa?
That was yep, Santa Rosa. That was in La Palmera. Yep.
Yeah, La Palmera. Yeah, okay. Pretty. Look at that sheen.
Wow.
Gorgeous, dude. That is a pristine piece. That's a $250 a gram stone right there.
Yeah.
When
doubt.
I got back, everything was $250 a gram.
Huh?
When I got back from Agua Zarcas, everything was $250 a gram.
Yeah, I know. That's the only one that held its value.
yeah, that's true. Well, I got one other one that held its that's just like this. It's a beautiful shield-oriented 16 gram, but I have that framed, so it's kind of a pain in the throw off.
Oh, beautiful.
And that's wool, so it kind of it keeps the smell a little bit. I caught like the faintest whiff when I opened it just now.
Yeah, Wessel was kind of promoting that concept a little bit. That was cool.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
What do people want to see of Dustin's collection? I know that I would like to see any mesoceterite that you may have.
I'd also think you should show off the Aubrite, since you have some pieces of it with the crust on. It's just gorgeous.
Ah, yeah, that's one of my favorites too. Okay, cool. Oh, I guess I should probably get my little gloves. Honor Mr. Bob Mackey. Dr. Bob Mackey, I should say. Brother. Dr. Brother Bob Mackey? How that works? Okay. So here it is. And that is a nearly, I mean, stuff's like, I think it's close to like 60, 70% Instatite. It's, I could be wrong on the percentages, but it's a lot of Instatite, a lot of metal. Looks a lot like Norton County.
Yeah, even the crust looks like Norton.
Yeah. And so, wish I could, sorry, I don't have, I will get better versions. So anyway, that's that. And let's see, Angrite, Lodronite, Uralite, Brachyonite, Howard, can you see these guys? Is that making sense when I'm doing that? Howardite, Belinga. Can you guys see that?
Wow. Can you grab it, please?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yummy, yummy Belinga.
Dustin, you got a favorite historical?
Belonga, sorry. I've been calling it Belinga forever. It's Belonga. My bad. Belonga. I've got a bad habit. I started calling it Belinga. I can't stop.
That is gorgeous.
I know. It looks like Jonestown kind of.
It does.
A little bit.
I was going to say, it looks like Jonestown. Now, Belanga and Tatooine and one other one that I have. But there's only 11 documented, witnessed diagenite falls, and that's one of them.
Yeah, exactly. This is an unbrecciated eucrite that looks a lot like, I think I showed you guys this last time, looks a lot like a eucrite, like a Martian, actually.
Yeah.
And then it's got some freshy crust, and then it's also just weird, just totally different looking crust. Just one's fresh and has rivulets, and the other one's just pretty old. Let's see. Oh, this is fun. This is a type 1. I think I may have shown you guys this. It's a type 1 eucrite. It's unequilibrated and unbrecciated, but the more important aspect of it is that it's unequilibrated. So it's pretty much as it resolidified in the magma. Not a whole lot of alteration after that. What else we got in here?
Hey, Dustin, you got a favorite historical?
Yeah. And that's how much I have of it. It's Nakla.
Oh,
that's
nice.
probably one of my favorite historicals. And
Mars, a witnessed Martian.
These guys. So yeah, when you say favorite, I'm gonna have to give you like 4 or 5 of them. But this is Holbrook that I found with Ruben Garcia.
Nice.
That was fun. That was a really cool one. I mean, historical, like, because I'm such a NWA dude, I'm not because I love it, just where I grew up. It's how I got into this. I don't have that many even named, let alone historical. So Nakla is probably that. And then I guess Fermo, because it was like one of the first ones where like the guy, the people that found it and were involved in it over in Italy contacted me directly, and I kind of had the inside scoop, and it was early on in my meteorite dealing days, and it kind of made me feel special. What else? Oh, this is one of my favorites right here. Marcos, thank you, sir. You see that? Did you guys see that little impact Betty thing? Did I get it right?
Yeah. On the center.
Yeah, right there.
Mm-hmm.
That is Tarancas with the material, like the crater material.
Is that from Spain?
It's from Bolivia.
Peru.
Sorry, Peru. Right on the border of Peru
Gotcha.
and Bolivia, but yeah,
Thank
Peru.
you.
And let's see. This guy I found in a tide pool in South Africa. And
I remember you telling that story.
Yeah, that was a heavy one. Barnstable? Hello,
Nice.
sir.
Barnstable.
Barnstable in the house. What's up? Mr. Amara, hello.
Yeah.
And what else? This is my chondrite area. Our chondrites. Trying to keep the
that one
market.
That one down there, is that a cast or is that real?
These are all real.
I
don't have any casts. I'd like to get a cast. I don't have any.
That front one is beautiful, man.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one. It's an R. It's just these guys they're expensive. You know, it's like scientists love R's. Collectors don't.
Man.
Yeah, it's hard. Hey, this is that Kurake or Kuraku or however the hell you pronounce it. That's mine.
Oh, the Brazilian?
Yeah. And here's some 2Ds that were used as an anvil for a while, and a hammer or anvil. Some Sercho. And okay, here's my favorite little section now, because it's everybody's favorite right now.
Chech
002. And then some 67.
704.
Yeah, that stuff.
Yeah, 6704.
Yeah, that stuff. And then look at that. Oh,
What is that?
That's a big achondrite ungrouped.
Wow.
Yeah, it's old school NWA. Got to get it cut. Get that thing rolling. And then Martian. Martian.
Is that Zagami?
That is Zagami, baby.
Wow.
Zagami.
That is ridiculously large.
Yeah, that's an 9.8 gram, almost a 10 gram hunk. It's a little, that's like a cutter. I mean, you know, that's something that we just cut little pieces off, but I'm hoping someone might buy it. This is a nice, almost full slice of it. Let me see, get it up there.
Now, was that a witnessed?
Yes.
Yeah, wow. How would you like to witness a Martian meteorite and then go pick it up?
I know, I would love it. So here's the difference between, let's see if I can get that. There you go. This is the difference. See that? And then now you see that. So that little part right there in the beginning is the big textural difference, which is fresh fusion crust compared to this stuff.
Gotcha.
Which is also Martian, peridotite or laherzolytic texture, poikilotic texture. But this one is the new one, and this is still being 1950.
Is it still being classified?
No, no, I just don't remember the number. It's 13404.
Oh, sweet.
My number is 13404. I don't know what. There's probably a lot of other numbers for it. Anyway, Chastignite.
Oh. Jeez.
I don't have a lot of it, but it's a little thin, little pretty slice. That's NWA 2737. That's a consignment piece, actually. Oh, this is fun.
Is that cutting dust?
That's a Martian dust, yes.
Martian cutting dust, nice.
We got a bunch of the lunar also.
I love it.
Some of which actually was bought. Believe it or not, I have a bunch of it. So this is lunar. That's a troctolite.
Oh, I need one.
With some fresh crust. Well, no, with some remnant crust, pardon me. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Hold on. That's troctolite. Anyway, okay, let's go back to maybe questions or something. I feel like I'm just rambling on.
No, this is fantastic. This is what we this kind of collection. This kind of collection is amazing. It's something that most of us see in museums, and to see a private collector that has, I always tell my friends, like, I own more Moon and Mars than anyone probably. I mean, not in the meteorite community, but I'll tell people that from work, and they're blown away. Like, you actually have Mars? So to see not only that you have Mars, but you have the named, the main type specimen, Chesignite, Nakla. And that's pretty amazing. And then not only having lunar samples, but having different types of lunar samples, and lunar samples that have crust, because there's not very much lunar crusted material, is there?
No, because we never had a fall. There's never been a lunar fall. I mean, there's never even been a North American find, let alone a fall. But so, we've never found a fresh lunar. So everything, 90% of it's just all, nasty. And so to have any kind of fresh stuff, on finds, how rare that is. It happens, but it's not that usual. This is where we store all of your specimens before they come. We have little drawers and we label them all. And so if I've lost it or can't find it, it's because, you know, I'm only human. This is just sort of how this all works. Like, this is all my classification stuff, all weird pieces that I'm in the processes of classifying. Oh, this is fun. You guys like artifacts?
Love everything.
Yes.
So these are all artifacts from Northwest Africa, like mostly Mauritania and Western Sahara. This one I found myself up in southern Colorado, in the hills of southern Colorado. And then these guys, I'm not really sure what those are, but I mean, you know what they are, but I'm sure they have specific uses. More stuff. Let's see. What did I want to show? Oh, this is one of the ones I'm proud of. Hold on. Let's see. You guys there? Okay. Oh, sorry. Thank you letter for donations to the Vatican. And this is that really cool sort of monograph paper that goes along with Fermo from Il Polo Institute. They specialized in Fermo and did all the workup. And Fermo is basically, it's an ordinary chondrite that has CAIs in it, and it's pretty interesting.
In an ordinary chondrite, that's wow.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, what did you donate to the Vatican? Because you can't just lay that out there and expect us not to ask.
I've donated some Martian, some 8159. I've donated some of the CK. I've donated Agua Zarcas, some, gosh, what else? Some other stuff, maybe, I think some other stuff. I'm about ready to send some more stuff, actually. I'm going to send them some lunar. And I'm going to send them some of this new lunar that I'm classifying just because I want my name in there. It's kind of selfish. It's like, it's like everybody, oh, it's so nice. No, it's like, I love the idea that my great-great-grandkids might go into the, you know, especially since half our family's European, might go into the Vatican Museum if it's ever open to the public at some point, which it's not. Then they'd see, you know, my name in there, which, so it's kind of vain, really, if you want to get down to it.
No, it's pretty awesome.
But,
Hey, Dustin.
but no, but they like it. They're nice. Bob's really great. Yes.
On Fermo, is it just like a high percentage of CAI? Because I know like ordinary chondrites can have like a percentage or something like that. I guess if you look at the way it breaks down.
Bigger. It's bigger and more. Let me see what it says.
So it's like more well defined and grown, I guess.
Yeah, and there was more instances of it. But I don't. I mean, not to take anything away from the research or anything, but like, I think it's a lot more common for researchers to see an anomalous characteristic and see it as being like highly unusual, whereas people like myself and probably yourself also sees so much material. And it's, you know, at the end of the day, you're like, oh yeah, I see that, like not all the time, but pretty regularly or regularly enough. So, you know, a lot of stuff maybe isn't quite as far out and, you know, hyper rare as some people, as we sometimes think it is, maybe.
I have a question about the Chech 002. I saw a picture, I believe it was Roberto Vargas put it up, with a metal speck, like a solid metal fleck in it.
Yeah, probably.
Have you seen, like, I was not expecting that to be magnetic at all.
No, it's not. I mean, there's not, like, as susceptibility goes, there's very little iron in it, free iron.
My piece does not have any iron in it whatsoever.
Me neither, and I've gone over it with a fine tooth comb on it, but it doesn't mean that there couldn't be some impactor, you know, ejector, you know, that was part of the injection event that got incorporated it into it. There is, you know, there has to be a core to this thing, and so, well, I guess there doesn't have to be, but most likely, almost everything starts out, there you go, right? Almost everything starts out with metal mixed in, and as it differentiates, you know, not everything disappears, I guess, and then there's remigration iron out of other minerals and stuff. Or so, you know, it doesn't strike me as totally odd that that we would find maybe a little bit here and there.
Roberto, put that back up. I'm sorry. Keep going, Dustin.
No, it's okay. Like I just learned that there's actually quite a bit. I was always under the impression that most of the metal that came from lunars was part of the impactor. And I can't tell you how many times I've told people, oh, look, yeah, that was from the impactor. And it's a great story. And I'm just, you know, in the process of working on this classification, I just learned that there's actually quite a lot of, I mean, relatively speaking, quite a lot of metal on the moon, on pre-metal. And you can have camosite. And it's very possible that that camosite, it's not sequestered quite in the same way. There's like a lower, the phagosity, the amount of oxygen that's available changes the dynamics a little bit. And so it's a little easier for iron nickel to remain free in there. And so it's, you know, I guess it's just a lot more common to see some iron nickel, some camosite, native camosite in lunars. And so if that's the case,
yeah,
you would think it's probably the case for
the,
you know, for some other achondrites as well, maybe.
This one is, like I'm showing on screen right now, is the first slice that I've seen that has a metal bleb in it. And it is just like super, super cool.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I've learned that the green crystal up there at like 11 o'clock, that is a chromium diopside. And then yep, a chromium diopside. And then in the center, what gives it all the orange tint to it is the presence of low calcium pyroxene. So we're looking at—
interesting that these low calcium pyroxenes have got this red glow around the prism.
Yeah, where is that? Where is it? Right.
Thanks, Roberto.
There we go. Those guys.
Who wants to see what of Dustin? He has a bunch of every kind of little thing you could possibly want.
Yeah, if you can do types, like I have probably none of the named falls you might want to see, but if you just want to see a type of meteorite, I probably got it.
Dustin, would you like to show off your lab equipment as well?
Sure. Oh yeah, you guys want to do it? Yeah, absolutely. So here's, I don't know if you guys can see it. Here's the new BH, well, the old new, it's new to me, polarized microscope. I'm still dialing that in and getting used to it. I haven't used it for this classification session yet. I have used a super cheap AMScope, just basic, like industrial, look at it, you know, get it done kind of thing. And it's been the most useful thing I've had so far. And here's the trusty old XRF, and we'll launch that for a little while. And we'll give you a quickie. It's not technically lab equipment, but it's my wire saw. And I think you guys get a little look at that and see how that works. And so you guys see up and down, it's got all the different, I think you can, all the different little controls there. And because these things are like very poorly engineered, there's like an emergency stop button there so that your wire doesn't break, which it always does. They never get to it in time.
Your wire saw is Chinese?
Oh yes, I can't afford a good one. It's the STX, it's the Midtex, I think, MTI Corporation. Is that, can you see that? Right there.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're tough to get good, like they don't communicate with you very well. At least they didn't for me too much. Here's some of my outside, my sandblasting area, and some of my little pond area.
What do you
some of
sand?
our-
What do you sandblast?
Cerato.
Okay.
And some of my polishing, grinding material. Yeah, like Cerato, depending on the quality of the metal underneath it, you can do wire brushing with it. You can do tumbling with it. You can do sandblasting, depending on what you're trying to, accomplish with it, and what the quality of the metal under it is, and what the quality of the crystals, and if you want to, like, if you can get away with doing it without destroying the crystals, which is not always easy. Like this thing is, I don't know if I've shown this thing off before. See if I can get it under the right light. Let's see. No. There. No. Oh, hold on. You know what? Hold this phone. I'm going to show this off. Really lighting this. That's the bummer about this. Hold on. I'm going to find a way because this thing is just so pretty. There we go.
Oh, yeah. That's Cerato?
That's Cerato. It looks like Immolac, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of big olivines.
Exactly. So like this one, well, hold on. Sorry, that lighting is just, there we go. That's probably better. This one, I had to be really ginger with, obviously, because you don't want to destroy the crystal. So I didn't tumble. I just did some real light. No, by the way, that out of almost 100 kilos, that was like the nicest Cerato I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I had to really be really ginger with it. So, so I did really light sandblasting and light wire brushing on it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we're doing right now. So what do you guys want to study? Who wants to see? What do you guys want to see? What the inside of is like? Any XRF requests?
For sure.
Yeah,
I'm an engineer, so I like this stuff.
Cool. So what do you guys want to see? What's your what would you like to see the bulk composition for? What kind of meteorite?
Throw Chech 002 on it.
Oh, okie dokie. It's really not super interesting, but I've done so much of it that it's like I'll love doing it again. It's one of those hard not to want to do meteorites.
Christopher, which one did you want to throw on there?
I was going to ask for maybe an impact melt.
Oh yeah, we can definitely do that. So, okay. So I guess what I want to do is I'm going to turn this around. Let's see if I can do that. And that way. Okay. I should have done this a long time ago. I'll get better at this. So let's go to test. And we're going to drop down. So you can see right now that we've got a nice clean beam. Like the beam's going to be right in the middle of that. It's about an 8 millimeter dispersed beam. And then we're going to go to...
So on something like this material where there are definitely different materials in there, you wouldn't want to shoot an 8 millimeter little beam and just collect a few grain sample. You would want to do it multiple times.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're basically getting into one of the main limitations of this. You can take this down to like 1 millimeter beam width, but even then it's really, this is for bulk composition. It's not fine-tuned mineral specific device really. It's XRD, much better for that. You can get, mineral compositional workups with XRD. You get into the EDS, the EMP, and even the new SEMs. You can do a lot of mineral characterization with it. This, you really can't do mineral characterization. You're doing kind of whole stone characterizations and bulk characterizations, and then you're trying to maybe intimate a few things. If you look at it and the whole thing's a pyroxenite and it's all pyroxene, you can kind of figure some things out because then you know what you're looking at. But it's, these things, they're very limited. You know, we talk a lot about how great XRF is, but it's really a very, very, very limited diagnostic tool when it comes to meteoritics.
But it can definitely rule out a terrestrial in a freaking heartbeat, though. You throw it on there.
Yeah, like an iron, like pig iron. You know, like I spent that $300 and whatever from that specimen from that dude while this thing was up at the Meteorite Mansion, and I was convinced it was a meteorite, and then I stuck it in, and there was no nickel at all. It was clearly pig iron after we saw the composition. So that's an instance where it was totally diagnostic, super effective. You know, when you get into anything that's got iron and nickel, and you can see that alloy, you can see the iron nickel alloys, then that's a diagnostic that it's a meteorite most of the time, as long as it doesn't have like 40% aluminum or, you know, whatever, you know, some other negative diagnostics. But anyway, this thing takes 300 seconds. So it's doing that, and it's going through
I have a question.
Low, high, and light.
I have a question about composition of meteorites. How often, and I guess in what ratio or what parts per million or percentage or whatever you can, however you answer this question.
Yeah.
How often and how much do you find gold, titanium, and precious metals in meteorites?
Like parts per million in the iron nickel. It's there, and it can even be in the like tiny percentages if it's like in a melt, maybe if it's somehow, you know, preferentially pooled in some area or something like that. But parts per million, not very much.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Those are
Copper seems to be
referred to as platinum group, right?
Yeah, platinum group. Yeah.
It's
I mean, same's true for the REs, a lot of them too, but sometimes there's some higher RE signatures.
It's finding all the gases too, right?
Pardon?
It's finding all the gases as well.
Oh, you know, this is a good time to talk about that. No, it theoretically could find argon if it was in there, and krypton, and it could find all this stuff. But so what it can find, so this is actually this is a periodic table from Thermo Scientific, the company that makes this and that I represent sometimes. And so this is effectively what it's doing. I always thought it would be, you know, exciting the inner valence, but I guess that would make no sense. If it excited only the inner, then how would we know what the composition was? So it's actually going into the outer, pardon me. So it's actually going into the inner valence and exciting that, and then detecting the energy signatures of the photons that are being released off of that, or the X-rays actually. And so, but anyway, the part I wanted to show you is that here, I'll step back. You see that the yellow area? That's what it can detect. And then mine and a few other of the higher end ones can detect the lower end, the sulfur, the phosphorus, the silicon, the aluminum, and magnesium. As much as I've tried and I would love it, it will not. We can't detect sodium to any grade, and even magnesium. Sometimes you got to be really thoughtful. And there's even I can purge that chamber and put helium in it, and that'll give me a more accurate magnesium reading. But the sodium would be really great. It's a really important part of a lot of diagnostics, but I can't get it. It's just too low. So to answer that question, helium, neon, fluorine, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, boron, sodium, well, those aren't. Hydrogen is, lithium's not. But anyway, none of these guys are detectable. They're all too low and below our detection rate. Everything from here, magnesium, to aluminum, if you've got over to sulfur, if you've got this particular type of detector, then it'll work, then you can get it. And then almost every XRF can detect all of this stuff. So chlorine, krypton, xenon, radon. If any of that stuff was actually in there, then we would detect it. And we're getting all of these, all the way down to uranium, which you do see occasionally. Sorry, where's it? There it is, sorry, uranium. Okay. So, we've done 301.52 seconds, and we'll start off. So, because there's a lot of oxygen in these silicates, and also some sodium, likely. See the top where it says balance there, or BAL?
Yeah.
That's not an element. That's what it can't detect.
Oh, okay. Finally, it makes sense to me.
Right? So that's the remaining balance. So it's got 6.265% iron. But that's not free iron necessarily. It's got 29% silicon, 1.54 magnesium, 4.044 aluminum, 0.2 chromium, 0.186 potassium parts per million. So you see where there's no percentage after the element?
Mm-hmm.
That means that it's parts per million and not a percentage. You read it as parts per million.
That's why I didn't know how to ask my question earlier, because I see it displayed both ways at a time.
Yep. And so basically, if you read it as a parts per million, as on the top of the row, so that says ppm, you ignore that if it's got a percentage sign next to the element. So it's, like nickel. And so you see where it says LOD?
Yeah.
That's lower than detection limit. So like if you take that off, there's like a setting you can do, but sometimes you get negative readings because the margin of error is higher than the actual thing. So anyway, I mean, this is all statistically based, so whatever. That's what it is. That's here, sorry, and then that's the rest of it. So there's a fair amount of titanium in it.
Can someone take a screenshot of that, please, so we can put it in the comments of the chat
here.
of the post?
I'll do it.
Got some uranium.
I would really appreciate that.
There was a decent uranium reading there.
I got you, Topher. I'll do it.
It'd be interesting to see too. I think it might have been Aziz posted numbers that they had too for the same thing when they were talking about it on Facebook. So the second data set of numbers you can look at.
But the cool thing is we did this live. You know what I mean? I think that has a lot of cool factor to it.
Yeah, and it's that one. So if anybody wants it, it's available. Everything in my collection is available. I can't afford to keep any of it. Yeah. So, okay, let's do some other quickie fun stuff, and then I'm probably getting close to the end of my time here. That's a big fun one. I don't own this one. This is actually, I still have to pay for it or buy it or sell it to somebody, but this is a Howardite.
Wow.
But someone should buy this. It's a really killer piece, and it's just chock full of metal. So one of the things I'm really interested in that Carl got me really hyped on is the fact that there's a lot more native metal in these places than you think. It's just really rare and you don't see it all the time. And so I'm kind of into the idea of figuring out where that metal's coming from a little more. What else is in here that's really fun? Chondrite ungrouped, lunar.
Is that 13202?
Yeah. Which one?
I think we just passed. Yeah, the high metal chondrite.
Oh yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah, there it is.
That's the one.
Gorgeous.
That's the baby. I can only afford to keep that much of it. I have some more coming, I hope. So, and then this is the Amahadasida. Let's see. That one. Nice. Love that baby. Oh, and then this.
Now that's the first meteorite or meteor that was tracked from space, estimated, and then recovered.
Exactly. Look at this baby. Okay, who can get this one?
That's a Vug.
Do your big knee.
You got it.
You got a wise crowd here, man.
Yeah, and that's kind of an iconic piece from it.
You could stick your little pinky tip in that bug, man.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I loved it. Thank you, ETL. Let me close that out. And okay, I think that's probably it. I'm probably done enough to. Some quickie books just because they're fun. This one is one of my favorites, but this guy right here, I really can't recommend this enough. Higgins, Jones, and Scott, and it's chondrules and the protoplanetary disk. It's really super informative, and then same with this one also. Super groovy. So, what else? Is there any more questions? What do you guys want to see? Some last minute exploration.
Yeah, turn to your right and go back to that big old slice of Nantan.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'll show you my storage unit. Oh look, real quick. It's raining.
Oh man, you're not in
So
Arizona.
cool. I know, it's nice. Yeah, you guys are getting a monsoon tomorrow, I think.
This is Nantan. Wow. There's so much crappy Nantan out there that it really has a bad name because that is beautiful.
Right? I'd never bought any Nantan, or at least not anything to keep. It was all just, 10 to 20 cent a gram, flip it kind of stuff, just for someone that wanted a cheap meteorite.
It's kind of like Nantan's the meteorite you rent because you're only going to have it for like 2 years.
Because then the Earth's taking it.
Yeah. That is awesome.
Yeah, but it's a fun piece. I love that. Oh, check this out. You guys ever see, I think it's Putarana? Is that what it's called?
What?
Yeah. Anybody want to buy a Mesa?
I want that. How much? How many? Oh, wow, I can't afford it. As soon as you turned it sideways, anyway, I couldn't afford it.
You'd be surprised.
That's got to be at least 2.2 kilos.
Yeah, it is. It's a couple kilos, I think. But I got it. It's, it's the most badass meteorite out there. It's just the most beautiful native iron nickel. I mean, it's gorgeous. But no, I think this. I mean, it's not much over $1,000 probably. It's not that
What's it called?
Putarana. I think that's what it's called. Putarana. I think that's how you pronounce it.
So it's not a meteorite. It is just terrestrial iron that is just cool as hell.
Yeah.
It's high iron basalt.
Yeah, well, it's an iron. It's native iron. It's actually, it's not. It's an iron nickel. Like there's even nickel in it, I believe, right? Isn't it? I mean, let's see. Hey, let's find out. I forget because some of these there's the disco, right? There's that one, and then I forget if Putarano has nickel in it or not.
I think there's only 3 places on Earth that have nickel and iron together.
Yeah, there's nickel. Yeah.
There you have it. Wow.
So anyway,
that's pretty cool.
I don't want to spend too much time
Yeah,
on it,
don't burn your beam.
But that's a fun one. This is a big old dinner plate of
Tacit 004?
Eucrite.
No, Eucrite. Wow.
Yeah, that's 10. What's that? I don't know.
10.514.
And okay, let's see. Let's just try to. I'm gonna go show you one last thing because I promised to show you top meteorite. I'll show you how much this stuff takes over your life.
Mm-hmm.
So even more just storage that I'm still trying to get through. Yeah. And then of course you're around minerals all the time, so you buy stupid big lots of things that you'll never be able to sell anybody. So I have like these crazy mineral collections. So that I thought I would make money on something. So anyway, here, let me move this and turn this around.
Was that chromium petrified wood?
It was, what was it? It was malachite.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I think that, like the minerals that I was showing just a minute ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're big into tektites too, right? You got a couple favorites?
I do. Yeah. Well, I'm into them, like, in that I like the dynamics and the heat dynamics, and I don't have a lot of tektites, and like Mindy is 1,000 times, Uzulu is like 1,000 times more versed and understands it than I do. What I know is I like buttons, and I can't afford them, and so I don't have any because they're like $1,500 to $3,000 for these little. But at some point, when somebody doesn't buy it before me and I have some extra cash, I hope to have a nice tektite collection, but I don't really have much. I've got some impact glass. You know, it's just some typical stuff. Do you have any? You got some fun tektites?
Not unlike you, you know, no $1,000 button. Just you know, trying to go through the different tektites. Got one badisite that I found. It's probably the only really cool one, but you know, everything else is just trying to collect the different types. You know, I got a
North American hunting for tektites. I mean, for like Georgites and some of the other pieces, it seems really seems like harder to find than a meteorite.
Yeah, going out and finding a Georgite would be really cool. I mean, those are those are primo hard to find.
Where do they find them? Do you know where they find them?
I don't know the exact locations. No, yeah.
I've got a $10 button tektite. You want to see it?
Yes, we do.
Sure.
I don't know how well it's going to show up in my hand here, but at the Denver show, yeah, it is a now it doesn't really show a lot of core. It mostly shows flange, but it is a button type tektite.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Was a dealer at the Denver show who had 3 of them. You know, this one, a little boat with flange around it that has a couple chips on it, and then there was a third one, and I went back like 10 minutes later to get the third one, and it was gone. But this is actually a flawless button, even though it's only about 8 millimeters in diameter.
Matter they're just flawless buttons or flawless buttons. Doesn't matter how big.
Wow.
Hey, a couple of little tektites if you want to see them. Some just Indochinites and some LDPs if you're interested.
Yeah, let's take a look at those in a second. I want to make sure we respect Dustin's time. I know that I said you had a cutoff, so I want to honor that. You can take off whenever you leave, whenever you want. I totally appreciate you taking us around your place.
Once you get me started, I never stop, so I don't want to keep going too long. So if there's anybody wants to see anything else or has any questions about anything that they've seen or didn't see or want to see, let me know. Other than that, I can say bye.
Okay. Well, we definitely appreciate. Yeah, if anyone has anything you want to ask, but I wanted to get it out of the way. Thank you very much for supporting our live hangouts and showing us some really interesting stuff and educating us. So thank you, Dustin. Appreciate it.
Topher, I have two things. One to show and tell, and one to ask Dustin a question.
All right. Why don't you go with a question for Dustin first?
So Dustin, I have a Shirato cooking, with the reverse electrolysis. What would you recommend as being the best way to finish it when it's done bubbling? Are you looking resin or microcrystalline wax, or what do you got?
You might have stumped him.
Did we lose him?
Dustin, are you still with us? Well, we'll have to drop that into the comments. Yeah, he just dropped off. So,
okay.
Yeah, his time was short today, so we'll have to ask that in the comments. John, would you like to show your piece?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I was going to show that to Dustin. I don't know if you guys can see it. But when I was out in Tucson a couple of years ago, I met him, and I suspect it was his wife. And there were several people in his room, and I'm just new at all this stuff, so I'm the newest guy on the into meteorites, and him and his wife spent so much time with me explaining a bunch of things, and they were absolutely fantastic. Of course, I was trying to hunt down Topher, which, you know, I still think he's a ghost somewhere, an aberration. So maybe Tustin next year.
I promise you, I promise you I do exist. I was there. Yeah, one day we'll meet, I guarantee it, man. I saw Roberto had a Tektite, if you like the, it looked like a nice Moldavite, actually. There we go.
Dustin is back. Hey there. Sorry, got cut off.
That's nice.
Yeah, without the light, it doesn't. It's not that special, but. That's about it for Tektites.
Okay. Who has something they'd like to show off? And please remember to drop your name in the chat to be eligible for the drawing for the meteorite, the CK5 from Top Meteorite.
I have a couple of Tektites if you'd like to see these.
While you're getting those, we're gonna let Kyle show off his new fashion. And and just in case you thought that was a little bit on the crazy side, oh, we got Martin representing, but there is something that no one has except me, because they just came as a sample. This is stupid. No one needs Topherspin Meteorite socks. And they're super really good quality.
They're
right?
meteorite cozies.
You can put them on your golf team.
I just had to. Well, I opened up a Teespring shop. So if you go to if you search for on Teespring, or if you go to my store there, I have all kinds of stuff, and you can just put your logo on anything. So I was throwing it on phone cases. I put it on a pair of socks, and I was like, oh, I need a pair of those. Imagine being at the IMCA game and you cross your legs, pull up your pants, and there's your logo.
I've got one more show and tell.
Mm-hmm.
So here is, along with the $10 button, here is a flanged boat. And it has some chips in the flange. But it is a real live, honest to goodness, Australite flanged boat.
Wow.
And that one was the same price as the button. They were both $10 a piece.
Amazing. Well, you 10 times your money if you ever would sell
yeah,
it.
pretty easy.
Sell it.
I was at ASU in the vault with Dr. Lawrence Garvey, and there's literally priceless meteorites everywhere. And like they're everywhere. Hunks of Mars, like Black Beauty is just sitting there. And sorry, I got distracted there, guys. He pulls out this one drawer, calls us all around, and he takes out this case. I can see his hand jittering. And he's holding it with two hands, and hold on. So he takes the case out, and I can tell that like he's a little bit nervous. He's holding it. He opens the lid really carefully, turns it around with both hands. No one touched me. And he shows this little thing, and I didn't get it at the time, but it was about that big. Shout out to John Higgins. About that big, a 100% perfectly flanged Australian Tektite button. Not chipped in the, it looked like it was manufactured or just pressed into its shape. It looked like a flying saucer disc. It literally had a wide rim around the outside, and the middle button was just a huge disc. And he showed it to us and then closed it just as quick and put it right back in there, and he was a lot less stressed the rest of the day. I didn't ask the value of it.
If you ever make it over to TCU too, they have an amazing, they have 3 of them sitting there. One of them is just the flange that completely separated off the core and survived and didn't break.
That's wild.
Yeah, one year in Tucson, I think it was probably 2014. I was kicking myself for not buying one when I first saw one when they were only $1,000. But I saw one at Tucson in I think 2014 that was larger in diameter than average. It was about 30 millimeters or so. And the flange was not just the straight, up off the sides. The flange was fluted all the way around. It was gorgeous. It was also $3,500.
Yeah, that's a hard pass for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah, you start. Ooh, gorgeous.
So these are ones that I got. This is a little Bakelite.
Yeah.
That's the Badea that I found in College Station, along with some of the sandstone layer they're thought to be sitting on top of, petrified wood. Little Indochinite. This is a replica of a button. It's Dustin, I'm in the same boat as you. I wish I had 1,500.
Yeah, my heart pounded when I saw that. I was like,
I thought that was real.
Yeah, and that is a little button core with just a little tiny bit of flange on the edge.
That's super cool, though.
So, and that's got good translucency sitting in front of a light. But that's the Tektite part of the collection.
Nice. I don't have any more Tektites or anything like that. I got rid of all mine to this guy right here.
I got one more show and tell while we're in Australia. So at the Oregon Star Party in, I think 1994, this was one of the first meteorites that I bought that was anything more than just an unclassified NWA. And it is roughly 0.2 grams. And I paid $25 for it.
Of merch. Yeah.
Yeah, of merch.
That's awesome.
And if you look at it close, it looks like it's been rode hard and put up wet. It's kind of busted up and such, but it's big enough to tell that is what it is.
Mm-hmm. That's all we need. Nice. All right. Anyone have something they want to show off?
Yeah, Topher. I do, but it's a meteorite. Is that okay?
Go for it, man.
Yeah, but I have to go get it and leave it. Like my phone died, so I have to.
In the meantime, I'm going to show off 2 things that I just received. These are from Timur. I hope I'm saying that right. Our Russian buddy who makes his own thin sections. These I ordered months ago, so long ago that we both thought they were lost, and he issued me a credit. And then out of nowhere, I have to sign for a package yesterday, and there's my thin sections from months and months ago. So this one is an L4, it's an L6. I think the other one's an H. But so this is my new thin section that I'll be looking at later. Well, when I'm rendering this video, probably. And then here's another one that is
Timur.
This is Timur. So here is from Iran. Is why I wanted this one from Iran. Plus, It is a nice looking thin section. I mean, these are not, I don't mean to insult him at all. These are not his A quality. He makes A quality and B quality slides. He sells the A quality for more than I'm able to enjoy them. Look at that little armored conjure up here. Tiny little one. So I can't really enjoy the A quality ones as much. So I get the B quality because I can afford them, and that's how I kind of enjoy my microscope hobby.
Timur makes thin sections by hand. He has pieces of glass and sheets of sandpaper and a saw.
That's why I felt so bad when the package was the package was lost.
Yeah,
Say that again?
This guy is old school.
Yeah, I was so heartbroken when we thought the package was lost not because of the thin sections themselves, but I know he put so much work into them and getting them down to 30 microns, and you know, it's an artisan and you want to be rewarded. It just sucks to have something like that go into the vapor.
I recently picked something up. I actually picked two things up, but the second item hasn't made it here yet. It was supposed to be here today, but
wow,
that is a 2020 fall.
That's Gatuto?
Yeah. Right. On the edge. So this is my third piece of Gatuto, but I saw it on eBay for a pretty good deal, and I just figured I had to have it. So
yeah,
it's a place.
Nice. Is that John Higgins as well?
Yep, John.
Yeah, John Higgins Outer Space Rocks.
Look at that though. See that?
Yeah, it's so friable. I was telling people how friable it is. You breathe on it and fragments fall off. Yeah. It's crazy. But that's the new Kenyan fall. That was just April 24th, something like that.
Yeah. 19.6 grams or something like that.
That's beautiful. I also have a few.
Maybe 19.5 after this filming.
I also have a few for sale if anyone's interested. Dustin, my man, what kind of ancient artifact is that?
Okay, so this is indeed an ancient artifact. It's technically prehistoric. It's from the Halaf culture, I believe is how it's pronounced. And it's about a 6,000 to 7,000 year old fertility votive. Or God, it's kind of, they were known to be like, these are, as these old types of things go, they're rather common. I mean, you'll still see this is totally like, you know, Smithsonian Museum level quality kind of thing, but it's not, it's not like the only one. There's probably like 20 or 30 I've seen in different museums that have maybe this quality. And we'll see the paint available.
Oh yeah.
It's from like, you know, like the Mesopotamia, like Turkey, Iraq, Syria area.
I think they're called Earth Mothers.
Yeah, I love it. It is.
So we're looking at something that has about the price tag of a small car, right?
Potentially. They're not really supposed to be sold. Technically, they're like, you know, sort of on the red list for the, you know, for trafficking.
UNESCO or something.
Pardon?
Something like UNESCO protected.
Yeah, exactly. You can buy these wholesale in the desert if you're lucky enough to find somebody that has it for a couple thousand, maybe 1,000 to a couple thousand. Or probably at auction, it could go for as much as 10 grand, maybe, for something that's beautiful like this.
It's amazing after 7,000 years that it's even there, but there's paint.
I know.
Like,
and a lot of times, so like the head has been reattached, and this I think it's the original head. It looks like the original head, But the fact that it has been repaired a little bit is actually kind of indicative of the fact that, you know, it's legit. And it looks like all the repairs that were made were, like you can see there was a little repair there. Were done quite a while ago. But anyway, yeah, no, it's a trip. Whatever. It's one of the neatest things. It was just happened to come through me. Somebody gave it to me to sell for them. I found out it was illegal to sell. I told them what was going on with it. They said, forget it, just keep it. I don't want anything to do with it. And then he died.
Wow. Oh.
And so now I have it. And sooner or later, I've called 4 different museums. And after I talked to them, they all told me it was just going to go into a drawer somewhere. And so until I find a museum that's willing to actually display it and give me a contract that says if it goes off display, it comes back to me, then or it gets repatriated to Syria, which is where it came from. But Syria is not a good place to take it back to right at the moment. So anyway, so that's that.
I've got a.
Thanks for sharing.
Oh, you're welcome.
These are ancient Egyptian funerary figures. They're called ushabtis.
Ooh. What are they called?
Ushabtis.
So,
yep. So basically, the ancient Egyptians used to bury themselves with, I think it's 401 of these.
Oh wow.
And, yeah, and basically they were supposed to. They have incantations along them, and basically what's supposed to happen is in the afterlife, these, you know, you still got to work in the afterlife. You still got to like plow fields and do a whole bunch of other shit. But basically, these figures would come to life after the Egyptians died and do the work for the Egyptians so that the Egyptians could just like lay around and not have to work in the afterlife.
It's going to take a while to farm some food with those workers.
All right.
Well, you have 401 of them.
Yeah.
How old are those?
These are between 22 and 20, like 22 to 2400 years old. They're like 200 BC.
Wow.
Yeah, I have all of the like provenance and documentation somewhere. I would just have to like dig it up.
That's
I don't keep
phenomenal.
it.
Yeah, and I know you're a little bit of a eclectic collector because when I was with you in Tucson, you had to buy this freaking dinosaur bone without a way to get it back. Yeah, there it is. Is that the one I had to mail to you, or what's the? I had to mail one to you because it didn't get on a plane or something.
Yeah, you had to mail me the base because I couldn't get the base over here.
We're in Tucson meteorite shopping, and this lunatic is like, "Hey, hold my bone." Wow. Hey, Mike, what you got?
I got one for you. So Dustin was showing Almahatsita, and you were saying, that's the first meteorite that was, tracked in space and then followed and then found. So what I have is I got 15 of the actual individual stone finds correlated to the individual pieces that were recovered.
Wow.
And I think I'm missing about 2 or maybe 3 types. So that was an interesting fall because it ended up being ultimately a urolite, right? But it had CB in it. It had some ordinary chondrite in it. It had some EL in it. So I have a bunch of the different little bits after it was classified. And I got to put them all together into a display. But that's almost all the different types within that fall.
Dang.
That's just mind-boggling. I'm still trying to figure out how the dynamics of that works.
Yeah, that is a wild one, and if I'm not mistaken, that was really the first first-hand tangible evidence that meteorites could be rubble piles.
Yeah.
And the explanation that I heard was electrostatic or Van der Waals forces holding pieces together.
Yeah, I can see there's so many things going on there, and we have such a limited sampling that, I think as the centuries go on, we're just going to find out just how vastly, you know, heterogeneous this stuff can be in some instances.
Yeah, and as we do these asteroid sample return projects, I think that's going to open our eyes to the nature of these bodies too. These parent bodies for our stuff.
This is pretty quickly here. Some of them.
Yeah, right.
All right, that's a long lull. I'm gonna say goodnight, you guys. I gotta go to bed. I gotta past my bedtime.
Thank you, Dustin. Cheers.
Dustin, thanks a lot, buddy.
Thank you for showing us your collection and your lab and everything. That's wonderful. I hope you have a really good alarm system, or your dog is not as friendly to people who are unwelcome.
His name's Chaco, and I rely on the fact that every single neighbor I have around here is packing.
Nice. Yeah, in Arizona, we're a very gun-friendly state. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I don't. It's kind of like I'm like the anti-vaxxer of the guns. Like I'm safe because everybody around me does. I don't have to. I get it. You know, whatever. But I'll take it. Okay. Hey guys, much love, you guys.
All right, take care, Dustin.
Later.
Bye, guys.
Much love, brother.
Hello, Dustin. Thanks.
We have a new participant with us for the first time. Noah, where are you from, buddy?
Well, I am from Mexico.
Great. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's my first time.
Yeah, we're really glad to have you with us, man.
Okay, thank you. Well, there's a little piece from Australia. Mondrabilla.
Yes. Wow. Love the shine. There you go. Wow.
It's found in 1911 in Western Australia.
Even shaped like Australia.
And this little guy is Viñales from Cuba.
Nice shock vein running through it.
I have a little piece of metal, bright like golden, like. Sorry for my English because I speak very bad, but
better than my Spanish. Meteorites bring us all together.
Yeah.
How long have you been collecting?
How long have you been collecting?
Maybe 5 years.
Wow. Was that a Socotolen that you just had?
What?
What was the one you just put down, that iron? Was that a Socotolen? That one, yeah, that one on the metal stand.
This one?
The one on the metal stand on your right, to your right. All right. Now in front, right there. That one, and the one behind. Sorry, the one on the metal stand. Yes.
Yes. That one.
This is from Marruecos.
What is the classification on that?
I think he said it was from Morocco. I don't know.
Yes, Morocco.
Probably an NWA.
Okay. It looked like an iron in your. That's a shocked chondrite, maybe.
Yes, chondrite.
Okay. Thank you.
Nice.
This is my little collection. I hope I more have another pieces in the a few months, but this is my favorite.
This is nice. You have a Campo di Cielo back there, and a nice slice of Serracho as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
you.
Good to see you. Hey, thanks. Thank you so much. It was great having a new face join us and a new collector. That's awesome. And another country. We now have Mexico in the house. Yeah. And you say Vinales and Cuba way better than I do. So
Yeah.
anyone else have anything to show off?
I got something extra weird.
That's Kevin.
It's a coprolite. So you guys know what coprolites are.
It's poop.
Yep, but it's got a gizzard stone in it.
It's got a what?
It's got a gizzard stone in it. So plant-eating dinosaurs ate small rocks, like, you know, for a gizzard to grind up the material, and then they would poop out the rocks from their stomach.
Wow. Okay. I did not know that.
Yep. So it's got a little, I mean, he's totally in there.
Wow.
The stone came out in the poop. So that was the dinosaur's stomach.
That is wild. I thought you were like, I thought at first it was like a calcium deposit, like a kidney stone or something like that.
It's a legit gizzard stone inside a coprolite.
Dang. Yeah. See, we do a little bit of everything here on the Meteorite Hangout, man.
Hey, Topher.
Yeah.
I got a PSA here for everyone. I don't know if y'all can see this, but it says nickel alert. And I got this in the hopes of testing a potential meteorite that Oz has kind of turned me on to. And it will barely turn pink if you put it on a nickel. So much so that I had to make sure that the government was still putting nickel in nickels. And they're 25% nickel. So this is not the one you want to buy.
Oh, jeez.
Test.
You just
So
got
back to the
ripped off.
drawing board.
That sucks. Oh.
Oh well.
Hope you find something.
I don't think it is anyhow. I'm just playing. That meteorite, I'm pretty sure it's not.
Oh, wow. Is that Altai?
Indeed it is.
Nice.
I realized that I can actually get a decent image of this now that the sun has gone down. But yeah, I love the sculptural quality of the cut on it.
Altai is just a really super beautiful meteorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the etch. The pattern on it is just tremendous.
Yeah. And then that's the Aubrite from Dustin now that it's not blasted out by sunlight.
Oh, nice.
It's just a tiny little bit of crust on top.
But on the Albrights, man, there's not much crust, and there's not it's so easily flaked off. This is my piece of Altai. I have actually the sister slice of this too. I think
Nice.
it was Chris Colvin, or maybe, yeah, I think it was Chris Colvin put his up for sale, and I looked at it. I'm like, how the hell is he selling my piece? My piece doesn't have this. But I'm like, how the hell is he selling my piece? Turns out I now have sister slices. But the pattern on it is just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It's a one of two. And then I went to the palette site, and look at this.
The variation in the color.
Yeah. But over here you have like yellow and gold, ambers. Yeah, this is a really cool specimen because I love this. You know, the entire thing is translucent everywhere. So you can really see the crystal structure. The olivines. I'm really, you know, there are some pieces of Cerato that are just garbage, but there's other ones that are absolutely gorgeous still. Like this one is just, everywhere you go on it, there's translucency. So I like that one. I just picked that up.
The nice
All right.
score.
Does anyone want to show off anything else? Because we're about at the 2-hour mark, and I don't want to. I always want to leave the audience hungry.
I got one thing real quick, Topher, just because everyone was on Native American artifacts.
Go for it.
This is a find that I had not too long ago. A little hard to see. I don't know if you could see it on your end, but it's a carved stone face.
We can see that. I can. Wow.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's I couldn't believe when I found it. I was looking at a farm field, on a plowed farm field in Maryland, and I was looking for arrowheads, and I saw these marks here at the top there, those grooves. I saw something like that, just thinking it was a piece of plastic or something, but you know, you kind of always pick up everything you see, and sure enough, I picked it up, and I couldn't believe it. I don't even really like holding on to this.
You cracked yourself, dude.
Dude, I really did. I don't even like holding it right now because I have yet to send it off yet.
It actually has leaves on the side of his face, doesn't he?
Yeah, it has a leaf on the side of his face. It's solid stone.
Wow.
Everything's on it. Let's see if I could get better in the light. But yeah, it's you know, it's cracked up on the top, obviously, but the fact that his face is so perfect, it was definitely the best find I ever had.
Congratulations, man. That is really, really super unique.
Thank you. Thank you.
I
Yes,
can't
I just
believe
wanted to share that.
I can't believe the detail that remains after all these years. Those leaves,
it's really amazing.
The branch of leaves on his face are incredible.
Yeah, I love that part. It's amazing because it was on a plowed farm field, so you got to figure, you know, the plow going through that field could have easily just destroyed this forever. But
yeah, how many times was it? How many times was it saved, or was it broken in half one time because of that plow? You know.
Right.
Wow, that is really cool.
Thank
thanks
you
for showing that out, man.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Well, hey, one last call for everyone. If you please would drop your name in the chat, you'll be eligible for our drawing. I'm going to randomize the drawing and pick out the CK5 NWA 12925 that was donated by Dustin Dickens of Top Meteorite. This is Topher Spin of Topherspin Meteorites saying thanks, everyone. Really, really appreciate you joining us. Appreciate all the new people as well. See you next week, guys.
All right. Thanks, all.
I'm getting a bunch of people waving back, which is awesome. Take care,
Thank
guys.
you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Topher.
Thank you.
Good night. Buenas noches.
See you, everybody.